Guess what time it is? It's catching fire time. It's finally time. We have our little sunset lamp on. I turned it to red. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Nice to meet you if you're new here. Nice to see you again if you're not new here. Thanks for coming back. Really appreciate it. But we're gonna read Catching Fire. I think actually we're gonna read Catching Fire and Mockingjay in this video. I think that's what we might do. Yeah, I think that's what I decided on. This is a full spoiler Hunger Games reading vlog. I've read Catching Fire before, can't remember a single thing about it except for one scene where she tries to jump back over the fence, but the fence is on. That's literally all I remember. All I remember from this book. Let's read Catching Fire. We're brought back into everybody's lives. Katniss goes and wakes Haymitch up for tour day because he's asleep, and then Peeta walks in, and you can just see the tension between the two of them. Like, he offers her a piece of bread, and she's like, oh, I'm good, I ate at the Hob, thank you. And Haymitch is like, brr, you two have a lot of warming up to do before showtime. Oh, and she walks into her house, and Snow's just waiting for her. So, yikes. Your little trick with the berries as an act of defiance, not as an act of love. And if a girl from District 12 of all places can defy the Capitol and walk away unharmed, what is it to stop them from doing the same? What is it to prevent, say, an uprising? It must be very fragile if a handful of berries can bring it down. It is fragile, but not in the way that you suppose. Chapter 3, we're gonna stop and go make some hot chocolate, and it's getting a little dark, so I need to turn on some other lights because I really don't know how well you can see me. But that whole chapter was a conversation between Snow and Katniss and about the uprising in the districts, and how that she needs to prove that she's in love with Peeta and convince him that she's in love with Peeta, but he knows that her and Gale kissed in the woods. And I'm gonna go make hot chocolate, and then we're gonna get back to reading because I need to know more. The smell of blood, it was on his breath. That's the first sentence of chapter 3. Yes. Katniss tells Haymitch about the conversation she had with Snow about how he's gonna kill everybody if she doesn't convince him that she's in love with Peeta. And she says, if you could just help me get through this trip. And he says, no, Katniss, it's not just this trip. Even if you pull it off, they'll be back in another few months to take us all to the games. You and Peeta, you'll be mentors now, every year from here on out. And every year, they'll revisit their romance and broadcast the details of your private life. And you'll never, ever be able to do anything but live happily ever after with that boy. I nod. He means there's only one future, and if I want to keep those I love alive and stay alive myself, I'll have to marry Peeta. The full impact of what he's saying hits me. I will never have a life with Gal, even if I wanted to. I will never be allowed to live alone. I will have to be forever in love with PETA. Good morning. Let's catch up. Snow came to her district to tell her like he didn't believe their love story and that she needed to convince him. I think that was the last thing I updated you on. Since then, all that's happened is they went on their tour. They went to the different districts. They went to District 11. She spoke to them about how like Thresh saved her and Rue was her friend and all of that. But then someone in the crowd did the little salute and then he got killed because it's part of the Mockingjay. Then they went on through the districts. They went to the Capitol. They had their little, they got engaged to show that they're actually in love. And then they went back home. And she basically told Gil like she wanted to run away. She wants to get out of here. And at first he was like, sure, let's go right now, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, I forgot. Then when she got home, she went to the mayor's house because they were having a dinner. And she saw in the mayor's office that District 8 was starting an uprising, or they were starting to get hostile, is that the word? Plutarch was introduced to Katniss at the Capitol's party for them. Plutarch steps back and pulls out a gold watch on a chain from a vest pocket. He flips open the lid and sees the time and frowns. And just for a moment, an image appears, glowing as if lit by candlelight. It's another Mockingjay, exactly like the pin on my dress, only this one disappears. Obviously, that's foreshadowing. On the 75th anniversary, as a reminder to the rebels that even the strongest among them cannot overcome the power of the Capitol, the male and female tribute will be reaped from the existing pool of victors. Oh my gosh. Haymitch's games is honestly something I wish we would have seen in the movie. I wish they would have put like some clips of Haymitch's game in the movie. But if you do, look up on, I think it's on YouTube. There's people who have like created the games and made it into like a little movie clip. Go watch them. If you ever want to know what Haymitch's games look like, they did a really good job. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. They said the red hair, I was like, oh my god. Honestly, we don't get much of Darius at all. But I completely forgot that Darius becomes an Avox and is one of her helpers. They just did their talents. Katniss, instead of showing them her archery, she decided to hang a dummy and write Seneca Crane on there to show that the Capitol killed Seneca Crane. He painted a picture of Rue. How she is, oh my gosh. How she looked after Katniss had covered her in flowers. So what should we do with our last few days? I just want to spend every possible minute of the rest of my life with you, PETA says. They're up on the roof having like a little picnic. They have like a day to themselves. They spent the entire day up on the roof. He's been drawing her. They've been playing like silly games, like making a flower crown, but she's laying her head on his lap and he's playing with her hair and he's saying that he's tying knots in her hair, or he's practicing knots. And then he stops His hands go still. What? I ask. I wish I could freeze this moment right here, right now, and live in it forever, he says. He turned her wedding dress into a mockingjay dress. Such a slay. He said, if it weren't for the baby. They're saying goodbye to Hamish, and he says, Katniss, when you're in the arena, just remember who the real enemy is. And then, when she's saying goodbye to Cinna, he says, remember, girl on fire, I'm still betting on you. And then the peacekeepers come in, beat him up, take him away. And then when she's going up, she realizes, like, they're surrounded by water and says, this is no place for a girl on fire. How did I never, like, make that connection? Like, a lot has happened in those last couple of chapters. What? Peeta got hit by the force field. Or he hit the force field. And so Katniss is freaking out. Peeta, oh my gosh, he's dead. And Finnick is trying to save him. But it's not registering in Katniss's mind. But then it says, I'm stopped by the sight of Finnick kissing Peeta. And it's so bizarre even for Finnick. What? What, Katniss? That's what just is like, oh my god, he's kissing him. My lover. And then Peeta died, but came back to life. His heart started again because Finnick did CPR. And his first words are, careful, there's a force field up there. Max is dead. Max is dead. Okay. It's o'clock. They met up with... What's the last thing I updated you on? Was it Mags dying? They had the fight with the monkeys. The Morphling died because she jumped in front of Peeta. They saw Joanna, Beetee, and Wyrus. Wyrus is constantly like, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. It's because it's a clock. Yes. Tick-tock, it's a clock. Wyrus says midnight. It starts at midnight, I confirm. My memory struggles to surface in my brain. I see a clock. No, it's a watch, resting in Plutarch Heavenbee's palm. It starts at midnight, Plutarch said, and then my mockingjay lit up briefly and vanished. In retrospect, it's like he was giving me a clue about the arena. But why would he? At that time, I was no more than a tribute in these games than he was. Maybe he thought it would help me as a mentor, or maybe this has been his plan all along. Oh my gosh. Joanna keeps saying things that are alluding to her helping Katniss. Like, she was mad and she was like, I got them out for you. So what were you doing with nuts and bolts? I ask. I told you I got them for you. Hamish said if we were to be allies, I had to bring them to you, says Joanna. There is no way that I'm about to start crying over these fictional characters. I'll tell you why. If they're having a conversation, it's just the two of them awake, Katniss and Peeta. I don't know what kind of deal you think you've made with Hamish, but you should know he made me promises as well. And then later he says, if you die and I live, there is no life for me at all back in District 12. You're my whole life. I would never be happy again. Peeta pulls a chain with the gold disc around his neck. Then his thumb slides along a catch I didn't notice before, and the disc pops open. It's not solid as I had thought, but a locket. And within the locket are photos. On the right side, my mother and Prim laughing, and on the left side, Gil actually smiling. Your family needs you, Katniss. No one really needs me, he says. I do, I say. I need you. I don't remember the last thing I spoke to you about. I'm just going to recap the last couple of scenes. They were like, we need to get this wire up around that tree that gets a lightning strike every single night. It'll probably kill anybody who's in the water. That's their plan. Before that, Peeta and Katniss had a talk about how they need to stay together. They're gonna run away after the tree because they don't want to kill anybody, but they don't want anybody to kill them. They go to the tree, they start wrapping the tree with a wire, and then they're separated. Katniss and Joanna are supposed to go down to the beach, and Finnick and Peeta are supposed to watch Beetee. Keep an eye on Beetee. They get separated. They are going down. Joanna and Katniss are going down to the beach, and the wire gets cut. Joanna knocks her upside the head and cuts out her tracker. Katniss is like, oh my god, what just happened? I'm out of it. She hears Finnick. She's like, oh my god, what's happening? They've turned against us already. She runs back and she's like, Peeta, focus, Peeta. Finnick shows up. She's gonna shoot him because she thinks they turned against him. And then she remembers what Haymitch said before she went into the games, which is remember who the real enemy is. And she decides to shoot her arrow up at the sky because they're in a dome when the lightning hits, and then it blows the arena apart. She wakes up in the hovercraft. Peeta's not there. You know who is there? Finnick and Plutarch. Finnick, Plutarch, and Haymitch. They're in the hovercraft. And you know what else happens? You know who else is there? Gale, because they're in District 13. Asking where Peeta is. Plutarch says, we had to save you because you're the Mockingjay. While you live, the revolution lives. And then Gale tells her that there is no District 12. Hi guys, I'm just popping in really quickly. I'm realizing now that editing this video, I didn't make a proper outro. I thought that I was going to put Catching Fire and Mockingjay in one video, so I kind of just jumped into the next book. But I decided that I'm not going to do that. Also, it is now December 17th. This video has been sitting in my storage for so long. When I was looking at the dates when I filmed this at the beginning of November, right after I got my wisdom teeth taken out. So if you notice any swelling or anything like that, it's from my wisdom teeth. Maybe November 6th or 7th or something like that. I definitely filmed it a while ago, and then I'm just now getting around to editing it because it took me, I think it was like 4 hours of footage together, and then that's why I decided to separate them. But I did finish Catching Fire a while ago. I absolutely love this book. So much happened in this book. But then again, so little happened. But I feel like you get to see a different part of Katniss in this book. In the first one, she's this older sister that needs to protect her little sister. And she finds this boy and they pretend to be in love to win the games. And she's fierce and she's just Katniss. In the second book, you get to see this side of her that's actually falling in love with Peeta, and you see the part where she makes bonds and friendships and how she is strong and how she is the revolution, all that. I mean, I think you just see different sides of her, or you can like see more in depth with her in this book, which I do love. I also will forever love Peeta. So this is actually going to be part of Bookmas. That's how late we're filming this. I'm sure Mockingjay and Songbirds will not be up until next year in the upcoming year since it's almost a new year. But this is part of Bookmas. Well, that's all I have for you in today's video of reading Catching Fire. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you in another video. Bye. Thanks for watching.